Hello guys, full time at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 3, Bayern Munich 1. You know it's been a good night when you can taunt the travelling Bayern Munich support with chants of, "Are you Tottenham in disguise?" They also found time for a chorus of, "Harry, what's the score?" Probably could have asked him what the score was on Sunday as well. He would have enjoyed that, because this is two fantastic wins for Arsenal back to back. 4-1 against Spurs on Sunday, 3-1 tonight against Bayern Munich. Two wins in both premium competitions. Arsenal asserting their credentials in both the Premier League and the Champions League. Fantastic. Probably the two best games for me of our season. Probably the two best performances and the two best wins. I'm going to start by talking about multiplicity of leadership, right? I think in any great team, any good group, you need multiple leaders. And Arsenal have been through a period recently where they've been without their club captain in Martin Odegaard. They've been without probably their next most obvious vocal leader on the pitch in Gabriel. And I think maybe as a consequence of that, we have seen other players stepping up to the plate. I thought tonight, Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice really stepped up into the breach as leaders. They shared the armband across the game. Bukayo Saka started the game with the armband, and I thought applied himself with a real intensity, a real physicality in the way that he approached the game. Declan Rice took the armband on in the second half, and he... There you go, Harry Kane spits when he talks. They're making their feelings known. But Declan Rice took the armband on in the second half, and he was playing like a man possessed. He was absolutely everywhere, up and down the pitch, all over the place, and a man on a mission. And I think it's fantastic the way that those two players, and other players, but particularly those two, have kind of stepped up into that void of leadership. That is what you need in any successful season, and those guys have really done that. The leadership group as a whole has helped manage Arsenal through this period, and I think that's a real positive. The next big theme I want to talk about is substitutions. In each of the last two league games, Sunderland and Spurs, I've remarked on the lack of subs in the game. Well, tonight, substitutes came off the bench and made a huge impact. Leandro Trossard gets injured, on comes Madueke. Scores his first Arsenal goal in the second half, set up by another substitute who'd barely been on for a minute in Riccardo Calafiori. Gabriel Martinelli, another player back from injury off the bench tonight, races through to score that third goal. And I think that shows you that when Arteta has the options at his disposal, he will be that much more confident to use them. He will feel that much more secure in making changes. He hasn't really had that degree of depth over the last few fixtures, and he's getting it back now. And we see the value that can bring. You know, Arsenal's second half performance here I thought was much better than their first. The first was even in my mind, and in the second half Arsenal really took the game by the scruff of the neck, dominated. They had that succession of set pieces where Marino seemed to come close 2 or 3 times to scoring, didn't quite happen, but I think psychologically those set pieces wear down opponents. I think they give Arsenal momentum. I think they get the crowd up, and we really improved from that point on. But I thought the impact of players coming off the bench was tremendous in this one, and sets us up for what's going to be a really busy period of the season. You know, late on as well, we saw Martin Odegaard come back. We saw Ben White, who we've hardly seen this season. It was fantastic to see him get on as well. We're going to need the full breadth of the squad, and we are starting to get something like the full breadth of the squad back. Gabriel Jesus still to come, Victor Gyökeres still to come, Kai Havertz still to come. It is exciting times, and as I keep saying, I think there's every chance this group should and could get better. And I think if you look at our last two performances, we're trending that way, right? I do think these were two excellent performances and results. It was interesting. I was having a good discussion with another journalist here, and we were talking about the fact that maybe two of Arsenal's most fluid attacking performances over the past couple of games have come without their new star striker, Victor Gyökeres. Is that coincidence? I do think Arsenal have found something a little bit with Marino dropping in, and Saka and the winger on the other side, usually Trossard, but obviously he's picked up an injury tonight. We'll have to see how that is. Looked like a calf problem. But Saka and Trossard or Madueke racing in behind, Eze pushing on as a kind of support, second striker almost. There is something about that is working right now. And I think there are hopes that Victor Gyökeres could be fit in time for Stamford Bridge on Sunday. It's an interesting debate, isn't it? Would he start? I don't think so. I don't think you would change this formula right now. Obviously, he doesn't have the match fitness, and that would count in Mourinho's favour too. Mourinho has played against Spurs and Bayern Munich tonight. What will his fitness level be like, his fatigue level ahead of Sunday? But I do think on merit, Mourinho deserves to keep that place for the time being. And actually, a bit of a gauntlet's been thrown down to Gyökeres to say, kind of, this is the level. This is the level that Arsenal are going to be playing at, and he needs to come up to that. And I'm optimistic he'll really respond to that challenge. But yeah, it's an interesting coincidence that Arsenal's two, in my mind, best attacking performances have come without their brand new centre forward. And I think huge credit for that has to go to Mikel Merino. The intelligence with which he's playing this role and the way in which he's adapting and adjusting it almost game by game depending on the opponent is fascinating. And he is a coach's dream, I think, the way that he's able to take instructions and deploy them intelligently on the pitch. I have to really, really take my hat off to him for that. I think that's about it, really. I mean, just another really good win. Trossard, that is the blow, that is the shame tonight. He's probably one I would have given a rest. There were only 2 changes to the starting 11. We saw Miles Lewis-Skelly come in, and then we saw Mosquera at centre-half. And Trossard, I might have given him a rest tonight and maybe started Madueke, given him an hour and then swapped him for Martinelli. Maybe he wasn't ready for that, who knows. Trossard got a calf problem. Let's hope it's nothing, because he's been in superb form. If he is out for Sunday, poses Arteta some interesting questions. You know, does he go for Madueke? Does he move Eze out there and put Odegaard into midfield? Would he put Merino into midfield? There's all sorts of options. And that's the exciting thing, right? Options. Players who can impact the game from the bench. We're talking about, would Gyökeres start Sunday? Well, if he doesn't and he's available, what a fantastic option to have from the bench. What an explosive player to be able to bring on. It's really exciting times. Mikel Arteta has great options. This is a formidable squad. And when players are absent, others are seizing the opportunity and stepping up to the plate, as they did tonight. And just a fantastic night. Right, guys, speak to you on Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.